Hello, everyone. Hi. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I'm really honored to be able to be here and speak at this amazing occasion. And my name's Laura Colket. I'm the director of the Masters of Education program at SGU. And I had something planned, but I've just been so inspired listening. The monologue was amazing, and that poem was so beautiful. And seeing this here, like this physical thing here that you have been talking about for so long is amazing. And your mother. When I first, one of the first things that I had the students do in the MED program was to tell me a little bit about themselves. And Samantha started out by telling me about her mother. So I have known about you for quite some time, and one of the first things that I learned about Samantha is that she admires you a great deal. So getting to see you here is really amazing. And I met Samantha about a year and a half ago when she applied for the program, and she came in for an interview. And I started telling her about the design and the philosophy of the program, and her eyes just sort of lit up. And I remember sitting there at the desk, and she stopped me, and she said, I can't even explain how excited I am right now, because I've had this idea about this new school that I want to start, and it's different than other schools, and I sort of was starting to feel like I was crazy with these ideas I had, and you just described the philosophy that I have for my school, and it makes me feel like I need to be in this program so I can experience it as I'm designing the school. So it was a perfect match, the two of us coming together and our ideas and philosophies coming together. And the design of the Masters of Education program is really grounded in three different things primarily. One is project-based learning, another is inquiry-based learning, and then the third is collaborative teaching and learning. So when it comes to project-based learning, the idea is that it's thinking about education differently, and I would say in a more natural way, right? Rather than having a teacher standing up there lecturing at you and the students being passive, recipients of the knowledge that they have to then regurgitate back. It's a much more active and meaningful process where students are engaging in real world problems and coming up with solutions that are complex and complicated. It requires collaboration. It requires critical thinking. It's meaningful to the students who are involved. And so that's one of the things that has been a foundation of the program, that we're both modeling that in the program and also teaching about that. And so one of the things that it was really great to see was the mission and vision statement, because this was one of the projects that that was in that she took up in the program to collaboratively design the mission and vision statement for the school. And so one of the really neat things about project-based learning is that students, regardless of where they are and what their passions are and what they're doing, where they are in life, they can apply what they're doing to their project, to their life. It's meaningful to them. So all along the way over the past year, the assignments in the program were perfectly aligned with what she was doing in designing this program. And so it's just really amazing to see it all come together. I actually don't know how you've done it, because the master's program is pretty demanding. Like, we have high expectations of the students, and we ask a lot of them. We provide a lot of support, but we ask a lot of them. And to be doing that on top of designing this school at the same time, I can only imagine that you don't sleep ever. So, and it's not that she's doing it, but she's doing it well. And she's been hit with one challenge after another. And it's not that, like, you would expect if you're starting a new school to be hit with a bunch of challenges. These were challenges that nobody could have ever imagined. So there were a few times that I said, do you maybe want to think about your timeline and reimagining things? And she said, nope, I'm going for it, and didn't take my advice, and I think that's a good thing. She just kept going. I think it says a lot about her character, the amount of challenges that she was faced, and how she kept going forward so powerfully through it all. So the other piece of the program is the inquiry-based learning, and it's very similar, and again, because it takes this idea of starting the learning process with the students, with their questions, the things that they're wondering about the world. They're experts of their world. They're knowers of their world, and so they can bring those questions, those curiosities with them to the learning environment, and the learning experience can grow from that. So it really feels authentic and meaningful to the students. So inquiry-based learning is the other piece, and then collaborative teaching and learning. And this is an interesting one because when I was a student, I hated group work. Every time there was group work assigned, I would just become really stressed out, that thinking about the problems, the group dynamics, and inevitably somebody is going to be doing nothing, and then somebody else is going to be doing everything, and or we're just going to all split it up, and it's going to be meaningless. And so I really didn't like group work when I was a student, and then when I became a teacher, I never assigned it because I didn't like it when I was a student. And then I started studying education and learning about how collaborative learning is actually one of the most powerful, profound ways to be learning. And so I had this moment where I was learning how powerful it was, but my experience didn't match what I was learning. And so, this is an example of inquiry-based learning. I had this question, it sparked this question in me. And so I dove in, and I needed to learn more about collaborative learning. And the more I learned about it, the more I felt comfortable trying it out. And then I got really powerful feedback from my students about how amazing the experience was for them, how much of a difference it made for them in their learning. And so at some point, it just became so natural to me that I couldn't imagine now teaching without it being grounded in collaborative learning. It's embedded into everything I do now. So when I was designing the program, I knew that had to be an element of it. And then with collaborative teaching, a similar sort of story. I was teaching at the University of Pennsylvania before I came here, and I was teaching a course. I had a section of it. There was another faculty member who had another section of it, and we were, after a number of years, we're told that we were going to have to start teaching together, and that the sections were going to combine, and she and I were going to co-teach the class together. And I wasn't very happy about this because while we respect each other, we didn't really get along because we had very different approaches to teaching. And so I was sort of stressed about going into this year having to co-teach with her. And then by the end of the year, I again sort of was very surprised that ended up being one of the most profound professional learning experiences that I'd had, because we pushed each other. It was brilliant of the leader of the program to realize that the students were getting two very different experiences from us, but we both had value, and so that we could learn from each other. And we did. We learned a lot from each other. There were ways that she could reach the students that I wasn't doing. There were ways that I could reach the students that she wasn't doing. And so we pushed and challenged each other, and both grew professionally as a result. And from that point on, collaborative teaching has been really important to me. And so when I was designing this program, I again knew that it needed to be collaboratively designed. It needed to be collaboratively taught. So all of our courses are collaboratively taught, and that collaborative learning needed to be at the foundation. And so you can see when I was sort of talking about this with Samantha, why she was getting so excited, because it was aligned so strongly with her vision for this school. And it's been a real pleasure to see her over the last year grow and change through this process, both through being in the master's. You being in this master's program while you were designing this school was an insane idea, but it was also a brilliant idea, because I really think it just enhanced the whole experience for you. And I'm really excited to see how this comes about, and I can't wait. And like I said, I'm very honored to be here and welcome all of you, and welcome this new school. And I'm very excited. Congratulations for all you've done.